We interrupt this record to bring you a special bulletin. The reports of a flying saucer hovering over the city have been confirmed.
Did you really go out with an alien? Uh-huh. What was it like? Real different.
Becoming Human, a Mork and Mindy podcast. Previously on Becoming Human.
I'm preggers. I've got a bun in the oven. I'm a mother.
Look, Mark, I want to have a family someday just as badly as you do. But a family's something you plan for. And we're just starting out. We're not really ready emotionally or financially. Well, you mean... No. No. You mean you and I, when... And I... And then you... And here it is. It needs some time to get used to this. It's just pretty strange.
Min. I think you better hurry, Min. Because our child is growing faster than a Russian athlete on steroids.
The next scene is set during the day. I'm not sure if it's the very next day. It feels like it's the weekend because there's no mention of Mindy going to work. Mork is in his other usual outfit and he's sitting on top of a huge egg knitting. The egg is sitting on a huge nest. Mindy enters from the bedroom in a long sleeve orange blouse and brown slacks, so that's why I was thinking of October. She gasps in shock. He says, "You didn't know I could knit, huh?" She gasps again. Of course, she's amazed at how much the egg has grown overnight. He says, "It's amazing with a little love how much you can grow." Like the egg is just growing because he loves it so much. She's worried about what's actually in that egg, and he says he doesn't know, but he hopes it's healthy. She wants to know if it's a boy, a girl, or a pterodactyl. So there's a possibility, because of this size, that it's not even humanoid. Mork thinks it'd be nice to have a pterodactyl, but they're kind of hard to potty train once they're airborne, and then he acts this out a little. She asks how he can be so calm. She says, "Don't you think that thing is a little gigantic?" He says, "Well, some people show more than others," referring to pregnancy showing more. She wonders when it's going to come, and he says, "By the look of it, another 24 hours. She gasps again, and she says, 24 hours? She points out that humans get 9 months, elephants get 2 years, and she gets 24 hours. And she says it takes longer than that to get Peking duck. And I didn't know if she meant like making it or ordering it in a Chinese restaurant. There's a cracking sound, which makes Mork hop down. He says that with some kick and asks if she's related to Bruce Lee, the famous star of martial arts movies. She guesses that there's not much for her to do at this birth, so she feels left out, even though of course she could have been sitting on the egg and knitting. She's walked away, but he takes her hand and says she's got to be a parent too, so he's trying to include her in this. He wants her to come over and touch the egg and pat it. He leads her over. He tells her to put her arms around it and says, "Have you hugged your egg today?" The saying, "Have you hugged your kid today?" She says she feels silly. He says she should because he just told her to hug an egg, so even he thinks this is silly. He encourages her again. She hesitantly pats the egg. She says it's nice and warm. He says it should be because he sat on it all night. She puts her ear to the egg and taps it. She can hear a heartbeat. Mork wants her to talk to it. Mindy says she doesn't think so. Mork says she talks to her plants, including that wandering Jew. Then, with sort of an elderly Jewish voice, he says, "Where am I today? I don't know how." And there's laughter and applause at this. I think we have had something with Mindy talking to her plants before, and that was a common thing in the 70s and 80s. I don't know if people still do that, but it would pop up on sitcoms a lot. Obviously, Three's Company, because one of the characters works in a flower shop. Mork encourages Mindy again, so she leans over and says hello. She taps the egg. She says she's Mindy, the egg's mother. Then she says, your father, one of your parents." She stands and tells Mork that she feels like Sherry Lewis without lamb chop, which I think is at least the second reference to that famous ventriloquist act. Mork says, "Isn't it wonderful? We're parents now. We get to say things like, 'Don't put that in your mouth. You don't know where it's been.'" She says that's true. So he's also looking forward to scolding his children. He asks if she's thought of a name yet. She says yeah. She'd like to name it Beth after her mother, which I thought was really sweet. And we did know from previous episodes that her mother's name was Elizabeth. She adds that's if it's a girl and doesn't have wings, like she still thinks it's going to be a pterodactyl. They head into the living room and he says he has a certain sentimental attachment to a name if it's a boy. He wants to name it Rodan after the character in the Godzilla movies who has wings. Mindy says she doesn't think so. Mork wonders if this is a little too ethnic. They're sitting on the couch now. He suggests Jennifer or Mustafa Joaquin, so one quote-unquote ethnic and one not. She laughs and then looks worried. She wonders how they're going to explain to people that Mork laid an egg and they've hatched a baby, and only after 1 month of marriage. He says they can tell them that they had to get married, so implying they got married because Mork was pregnant, and so it was a rushed marriage.
I've been thinking about this, and I think we should keep this our little secret.
Min, are you ashamed of our child?
Oh, no. No, Mark, but what if somebody found out it was part alien? Who knows what they'd do to it? And then they'd find out you're an alien, and who knows what they'd do to you?
Federales! Federales!
Who is it?
A sad and desperate man.
No, it's Mr. Bickley. We'll be right there. We're not decent.
I don't want to see you. I want to talk to you.
Hey, what do we do?
The bedroom.
No, not now. We have company, Min.
I meant the egg.
Oh, I know that. I was just trying to give a little comic relief in these moments of tension. Easy, easy, gentle, gentle. Ready? Min.
We'll be right there. Be careful.
Why do I feel like we're at a company picnic on Saturday, Min?
I'm counting to 5. Open the door or I'm climbing into the trash compactor.
Oh, Min, I'll stay here with the egg. I think it's almost time, though. Oh, wait. I hope all this rolling on hasn't turned him into a quiche.
I'll get rid of Mr. Bickley.
They're holding hands again. She wants to keep the baby a secret, and it's not because she's ashamed, but she's worried about how a part alien child would be treated and how Mork would be treated if people made that connection. It did cross my mind that if it had ended up being an earthling-looking baby, they could have somehow claimed that they adopted. But obviously, when we see what their child looks like, that would not work for an explanation. Mork refers to the Federales, which is Spanish and has to do with the Federal Security Force. We get this thing that is similar to other farcical situations that have come up, including when we had Mork and Mindy hiding Zerko from Mr. Bickley. But now they are trying to hide their child. Mindy says that they're not decent, and he says he doesn't want to see them, he wants to talk to them. And there had been the thing where Mork spread the rumor that Bickley and Mindy were showering together, and Mr. Bickley was teasing her about that, but here he's just so upset he wouldn't care if they weren't decent. And yes, we have not seen Mr. Bickley since the end of the previous season. There has not been any explanation for where he's been. We will sort of get that shortly. Presumably he knows that they're married now. It doesn't really come up in conversation, but clearly he does not mind visiting them as newlyweds unannounced any more than when they were married and not officially a couple. Although Mork is very much in a mommy kind of mindset in this episode, he does joke about having sex with Mindy when she suggests the bedroom, and he says, not now, they have company. Like, ordinarily, yeah, I'd go in the bedroom with you, but Mr. Bickley just dropped by. And then he says he's just offering comic relief in these moments of tension, which is not quite the stage directions thing, but is a description of what Mork sometimes does. And then we have this scene of them rolling the egg across the living room and trying to fit it through the doorway. Mork says it's like a company picnic on Saturn, so I guess that is one of the fun activities that you would do on the planet of Saturn. And we get an unusual reverse shot of Mr. Bickley at the front door. I thought that was interesting that they didn't play it as a voiceover, that we get to see what it looks like for Mr. Bickley to be outside their closed front door. He is so depressed that he wants to climb into a trash compactor. They are good neighbors. They're not going to ignore this, even though they would rather not talk to him, understandably. And we get a glimpse of what is now Mork and Mindy's bedroom, and we'll get more of that later. Mork refers to quiche, which was a somewhat trendy new food in America at that time. There was a humor book that came out the following year called Real Men Don't Eat Quiche. According to Wikipedia, the title alludes to the gender associations of quiche as a feminine food in American culture, which causes men to avoid it. I think it would have had that association in 1981. In any case, it is made made with eggs and cream. After Mindy leaves the bedroom, Mork is trying to balance the egg and keep it from falling over, although they've been rolling it, so it's probably okay. Mindy opens the door to a distraught-looking Mr. Bickley, and he's wearing a nice gray suit, and in fact they both will comment on that. Usually we don't see Mr. Bickley in suits. It tends to be more sort of a sweater look, more informal than we get with Fred. And by the way, Fred and Cora are not in this episode. There's applause, because the audience hasn't seen Mr. Bickley in a while, and they like him. Mindy tells him he has a nice suit. He thanks her and says he's about to be buried in it. She says he dropped in at a bad time and mumbles something about washing her hair. He says he doesn't want to talk about it, meaning talk about what's bothering him. She says she respects his feelings and says bye. She tries to steer him out, but he steps in and just launches into the story. He says that he met Dorinda at a Club Med luau. The second he laid eyes on her, he knew he had to make her his. Sure, she was a lot younger than him, but she loved older men. She tells him it's a nice story, but maybe he can tell it to her tomorrow. He says that their romance blossomed and they decided to get married. So last night he took her to meet Dad. That's when the trouble started. So we find out that Mr. Bickley's father is still living, presumably is at least in his 70s since Mr. Bickley turned 50 a few months ago. Also presumably lives close enough to visit, even though we didn't hear anything about him even in the episode where we met Mr. Bickley's son. This is as much of an explanation as we're going to get why Mr. Bickley wasn't around in the previous 3 episodes. He went to Club Med, had this whirlwind romance with a young woman named Dorinda, and then recently was visiting his elderly father. Mindy wonders if Mr. Bickley's father objected. Mr. Bickley says no, Dorinda ran off with him. Mindy says that's too bad. Mr. Bickley says, too bad? You call that pity? Where's Mork? Because, of course, Mork always is more sympathetic to Mr. Bickley than Mindy, who more often gets annoyed with him, whereas Mork admires him. Even the times that Mr. Bickley is curmudgeonly, he still likes him. She says that Mork's in the bedroom having breakfast. We know that this is fairly early in the day, although they were both already dressed. There's the sound of the egg cracking, so she says that that's Rice Krispies, because, of course, they snap, crackle, and pop.
Hi, Vic. Nice suit you got there. How's life treating you?
It all started when I met Dorinda at a Club Med luau. She told me she loved... What is that noise?
Oh, I'm just listening to my Exorcist soundtrack. Little Linda's head's just starting to spin around. Min, can you give me a little moral support, maybe a ball-peen hammer?
What's going on in there that's more important than me?
No! You don't want to get alone and remind you of Dorinda.
Oh, you're right. Everything does. I'll never be able to look at my family album or eat suckling pig again.
Mr. Bickley, you got to know that those gray skies are going to clear up. So put on a happy face. And remember, there's always more fish in the sea.
But I want a girl just like the girl that ran off with dear old Dad.
The audience is very amused by that doctor headdress that Mork has and the gloves. He also compliments Mr. Bickley's suit. Mr. Bickley starts to tell the Dorinda story again. Mork refers to the Exorcist soundtrack. I think we've had an Exorcist reference before, and he mentions Little Linda, meaning Little Linda Blair. And he wants Mindy's moral support and a ball-peen hammer, like they're gonna just crack the egg open themselves. Mr. Bickley wonders what's more important than him. So in a different way than Exodore, he's very self-involved. Mindy is trying to think of a way to keep Mr. Bickley out of the bedroom so he won't see this giant egg and ask questions. So she says that it will remind him of Dorinda. And he doesn't question this. I guess a bedroom would remind him of Dorinda. He refers to a suckling pig, which I think has to do with them meeting at a luau. She refers to gray skies are going to clear up, put on a happy face, the song from Bye Bye Birdie, and we may have had a reference to that before, and then she says the cliche about more fish in the sea. Then he refers to the old song, I Want a Girl Just Like the Girl Who Married Dear Old Dad, and of course that is rather Oedipal, but just sort of this old-fashioned idea that you will marry somebody as wonderful as your mom. Here, it's that his new stepmother is the woman that Mr. Bickley thought he would marry. Mr. Bickley says he doesn't want to upset Mindy, but he thinks there's a great big nest over there. She nervously says, what? And he says, don't you see it? She looks nervous and scared because They got the egg out of the living room, but now there's this giant nest that he's noticed. And then we get an angle where we can see the nest in the foreground and Mindy and Bickley are in the background as she looks over at the nest. She says yes, meaning yes, she sees it, and he asks what it is. She looks again and says it's a great big nest. He quietly asks, what the hell is it doing here? He knows that there's a secret, but he's also just quiet, I think, because he doesn't know what is going on. He's been living near them for, I guess, 2.5 seasons. It's kind of fuzzy whether he's there at the first half of season 1, but he has seen and heard some strange things with them as upstairs neighbors.
Boy, is Mork going to be upset. His pet condor got away.
Why do I come here?
Mindy plays it off as if Mork has a pet condor, and of course condors were an endangered species, and yet somehow she wants Mr. Bickley to think that they had one in their living room and it flew away. There's something sort of poignant about him saying, why do I come here? Because on the one hand, it's just he's got this problem, he is feeling suicidal because his fiance ran off with his father, and he was hoping to get some comfort, and then the neighbors are so weird. But also, this is Tom Poston's last episode. It's like, what happened to Mr. Bickley? Did he do himself in? Did he move away? Did he just stop visiting? A heck of a last line for this character. But I am glad they brought him back. And it is a fun little scene with him. It really wouldn't have worked with any other character. But yeah, not exactly closure for him. And in a way, this episode is a changing of the guard. We will get more of Exodore, but this is the last of Mr. Bickley, and we will shortly be meeting a very significant new character. She runs back towards the bedroom. Mork comes out and says she doesn't want to miss this like she did Beverly Sills at Marineland. And I don't know if we've had a Beverly Sills reference before. I think we might have, but she was a very famous American opera star whose peak career was between the 50s and 70s, according to Wikipedia. And so the idea of her appearing at an amusement park with sea animals is just ridiculous. We get more of a view of the bedroom, and we can even see a bit of Mindy's blue and white bathroom like we saw in the limited engagement episode. The bed looks the same size as before, and I don't know if they get a bigger bed later. I mean, at this point, they're newlyweds. They probably don't mind having this very small bed. The egg is in the foreground. It's resting in a nest of blankets now. There are visible cracks in it.
This is it, Min. Isn't much nicer having the baby at home rather than in the hospital?
No, it's important that we don't panic. And if we panic, it's important we're not loud.
Oh, I just hope it's healthy.
I just hope it doesn't get the bedroom set.
I love you, Min.
It's a boy. It's a man.
Mindy is again panicky, and Mork is just excited. She's worried that whatever is in the egg will eat the bedroom set. And she doesn't mean stage set, but the furnishings and decor of this bedroom. And then we get them exchanging I love yous because they are about to officially become parents, I guess, if hatching is more official. So this is them sealing their bond, even at this time of very mixed emotions, and they kiss. Then we get the emergence of their child, and there's applause, including whistles and cheers. I think that the audience would have recognized Jonathan Winters, but it's possible that they were told that he would be guest starring on this episode. The child is, of course, naked, and we can see one bare shoulder and a bit of his hairy chest, which he apparently inherited from Mork. And Mork says that it's a boy. The face and I guess the hairy chest indicate a male child. Mindy says it's a man because it is a humanoid, but she was expecting a baby, and it is working enough that he is aging backwards. And then we have the new family waving at each other, and as with the 3 previous episodes, we see to be continued on the screen. And it definitely will be continued in the next episode and on throughout the season, because this is not exactly an episodic plot. There will be consequences. They continue the thing of having stills from the episode in the closing credits. Both Tom Poston and Jonathan Winters are listed as special guest stars, and yes, they say that Jonathan Winters plays Mirth. Mirth's name is not discussed in this episode. I think that comes up in the next episode, and we'll get an explanation for why Mirth. They could have just said Jonathan Winters as the baby. And I don't know that I caught onto that watching it the first time in 1981 as the credits flew by, and I don't know if the TV Guide capsule said his name. But yes, that is our new regular. This has been quite a roller coaster this season, and this is only season 4. So they have gone from Mindy just wanting to drift along and not get married to reluctantly getting married, and then really embracing it and standing up to her father about it, and Mork standing up to Orson, and they get married and they have the honeymoon with all those complications, and then it's a month later and they are still newlyweds, but now there is this unplanned pregnancy and they rapidly become parents. Like I said, I think watching it unfold at the time, and these were all airing just in October 1981, so boom, 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 boom. I don't think I thought, oh no, now they're parents. I mean, in retrospect, it's like, oh boy, this is rushed. I think at the time it was probably pretty exciting. Gosh, what will happen next? Watch it now. I said about limited engagement I had mixed feelings. I definitely have mixed feelings about this episode as well, even in isolation and not thinking too far beyond this. I rate each of these episodes on a 0 to 4 egg scale because, as you know, eggs symbolize so much and are so important in the culture of Orc. For this podcast, it represents how much it delivers of what I'm looking for in the series. And I gave Limited Engagement a 3 because although I was excited about them getting married, there was this kind of bitter aftertaste because of Mindy's conflict. And I'm going to go with 3 on this as well because Mindy is not 100% on board with this. Mork is the mother, and it is his choice to have this child, but it would have been nice to have Mindy be able to have more buy-in about it if he had confided in her once he realized that he was pregnant. And yes, it's just a matter of a few hours, but that would have been nice. Maybe after the egg came out of his navel, if he could have gone and talked to her. And just losing what I hoped would happen with them as a couple. You can see the beginning of that. I also rate each of these episodes on a 0 to 4 heart scale, which measures how well it supports and promotes the romantic relationship of Mork and Mindy. I gave Limited Engagement and The Honeymoon both 3.5. They are very shippy episodes. I gave The Wedding a 4 because it is as shippy as possible. This one I'm giving a 3, which admittedly is still shippier than much of the series. They are very flirty. She definitely wants to keep the romance going. There's a lot of touching and hand-holding and kissing and I love yous and expressions of affection, and he sees them becoming parents together as romantic in itself. But it is a bit of a drop. Not necessarily something to be concerned about because, as I said, 3 is pretty good. Those 2 3s kind of impact each other. Like I said, I found the Mork and Exeter scene very funny, very well played. It's actually my favorite scene of the episode. Although I do like what Pam does with Mindy having this difficult dilemma. And even before Mindy knows that she is a father, she is trying to communicate with Mork, who again has a secret. On the other hand, I mean, I certainly do feel for Mork that he has a child that is very much won by him, but he's worried about how the father is going to feel about it. He doesn't see any downsides, even things that other people would see as negative, like having to keep medicine out of reach. This is just a challenge to him. He's going to love it all. He is really looking forward to being a parent. Doesn't think that she needs to worry about it. And as far as them not being emotionally or financially ready, he is emotionally ready, and he has never been the one to worry about finances. I mean, there have been times when he felt bad that he didn't have a permanent job, but I think that was more sort of a self-respect thing than a financial thing. And she's the practical one. She is also the one who thinks about what does this do to us as a couple, and what does this do to us as individuals. He tends to be the more optimistic one and just kind of smoothing and soothing. We will see this play out through the season. Like I said, I think that her concerns get kind of steamrolled over. There definitely will be complications about being parents, but not the ones that she is foreseeing. Just like some of her concerns about getting married were not necessarily what she needed to be prepared for. I definitely recommend this episode, even if it were weaker, because it is pivotal to the series and particularly to season 4. You need to see how this happened or how the rest of the season plays out, to have this in the background. And like I said, we don't yet know how Cora and Fred will react, and we will see that. I can't really comment too much on Jonathan Winter's performance. It's very brief. It's fine. He makes a cute baby. He will not stay a baby that long. Spoiler. I'll talk about his aging process, not so much physically, but emotionally and developmentally as we go through the season. But he is definitely not like a 1-year-old or younger when we hit the end of the season. Whether or not this is a shark jump is debatable. As with other shark jumps, it's not bad in itself, but it can be seen as a demarcation line of what happened before and after. And this is definitely not something that can be undone. That ain't a Etch-a-Sketch. That's one doodle that can't be undone, to quote Juno. Unlike Fonzie jumping over a shark, which you could have pretended didn't happen, except as you know that it did end up in the second Mork appearance on Happy Days as a part of that clip show. The roller coaster will continue. 3 eggs, 3 hearts. This is Paula Schaffner with episode 73, 3 the Hard Way. Congratulations! It's a man!
Daddy shark, do-do-do-do-do, Daddy shark, do-do-do-do-do, Daddy shark, do-do-do-do-do, Daddy shark.
Grandma shark, do-do-do-do-do, Grandma shark, do-do-do-do-do, Grandma shark, do-do-do-do-do, Grandma shark.
Grandpa shark, do-do-do-do-do, Grandpa shark, do-do-do-do-do, Grandpa shark, do-do-do-do-do, Grandpa shark.